Was the Indian economy on its very height before the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic? Was it right to have reopened the economy despite the presence of the deadly virus? What can India do now? We'll be answering to all your questions and some more in the next few minutes. So if you haven't subscribed to the Unbiased yet, please do, because we keep bringing great content as well.
It's all about humanity.
Hello everyone, you're watching The Unbiased. This is your host Chetan Srinivas Nigam, and today we are here to discuss about the economic crisis of India due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Was the Indian economy on its very height before the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic? No, definitely not. The Indian economy was at a very low, and by low I here refer to the 3.2% growth rate. If not low, it was the lowest in the last 12 years, and all attempts that were being made to rescue it were drastically failing. This time that the world got hit with the COVID-19 pandemic, countries around the world and India too had to see a global shutdown for the safety of its people, which indeed further worsened the condition of the Indian economy. Now, speaking about the Indian economy, India took a very bold and swift measure of enforcing a 3-month-long countrywide lockdown. Although initially planned for just 14 days, seeing the seriousness and the far-reaching sway of this deadly virus, the authorities took the critical decision of extending the lockdown for another 2 months. Now, it is always said that to make the best out of the worst, and to make opportunities even in the worst of times is what makes a good businessman a great businessman. It is true that we have seen a shortage and a breakdown in the world, but it is also true globally that companies of Jeff Bezos and Mukesh Ambani have not only seen an increase in their net worth, but also have seen an increase in their total profits and made sure they score sky high. But it is true, companies such as Global Gym, the Colombian Airlines, as well as Insat had to face bankruptcy due to the COVID-19 pandemic. What we mean to say is that there are both sides to this pandemic. You can either come out of it victorious or you can get defeated. We ask you to maintain both patience and have hope that this pandemic will end. But at the same time, remember that this pandemic has come and it has come to stay, and we do not know when it would end. So I urge you all to take precautions, to maintain social distancing, to maintain sanitization, to maintain cleanliness, and to wear a mask every time you move out of your house. Please, it is not for the betterment of you. It is for the betterment of you, the country, your family, as well as everyone throughout the globe. Over to our co-host, Sarvesh Gurao, who will be explaining you, was it right to have reopened the Indian economy despite the presence of the COVID-19 virus?
Greetings everyone, this is Sarvesh Gurao speaking from The Unbiased. What do you think? Was it right to have reopened the economy despite the presence of coronavirus in the country? Well, the answer for this very confusing question is a question itself. What would have happened to the country if the lockdown was not ended and the economy reopened? According to estimates, it costed more than $250 billion monthly to the economy, and to sum up, it would cost more than $750 billion for 3 months of lockdown. Also, many economists predict that the Indian economy is going into a recession with a negative growth rate of minus 5.2%. If the recession is prolonged, we might face high levels of unemployment and also a shaky response for the goods. And as far as the citizens are considered, I would like to quote Indian billionaire Mr. Narayan Murthy. He said, "If the lockdown is not opened, people will die from hunger rather than the pandemic." Let us also have a look on various other countries. For example, countries like Japan, which underwent lockdown throughout, are getting very few new cases every day, whereas the countries like the United States, which did not impose a strict lockdown, have more than 1,41,000 deaths. Also, the gust of the wind from the west, that is, the response of the people from the United States and the United Kingdom, is very sad to begin with. The people over there started protesting against the imposition of lockdown, called the virus a fake virus. As bizarre or as ridiculous it might seem, the students in the United States conducted COVID-19 parties to challenge the virus itself. The Great Western Wave of influence has failed miserably this time to set an example to the much more economically backward Eastern countries.
What can India do now? India has but only few options left. India could now realize and try to save its people who are ultimately working for this society even in times of COVID. Like we have already said, every part of the society has been affected. We included not only the people but various organizations. They are working with the payment issues to teachers and the other staff members of the education systems. Education systems has been severely hit due to the non-payment of the fees by parents themselves. We don't mean to hurt anyone's sentiments but would like to put in front the thought we are subconsciously aware of. Even teachers are the part of the society we live in. Even they too have their families to feed and they must have money to fulfill their needs. We are not only talking about the teachers but everyone else who is getting more than 50% pay cut or even worse than that, not getting paid at all. Apart from the above trouble, virus will make sure it will hit you where it hurts the most. The economic crisis is affecting people in all ways. Further, they must pay for the treatment of the coronavirus by themselves, with premium hospitals generating a bill more than 10 lakh rupees for the complete treatment. Yes, you heard it right, it's worth 10 lakh rupees. The least the private organization can do in this time of crisis is providing the health insurance for the COVID treatment for all the frontline workers. Yes, we know that even private organizations are in loss, but after this pandemic they can recover. If you have not watched our previous video on the changes of the education system during COVID-19 crisis, please do check the link in the description below. It would reduce huge amount of stress on the employees. If not full, but only 60% of their salaries can be paid to help them run their houses by the organizations. The condition of our economy is like COVID-19 patient affected. It needs smart citizens like you and me to revive it. In this time of crisis, we must decide whether to follow the simple guidelines of practicing social distancing and wear a mask, or to force authorities to call on another lockdown. Vande Mataram.